Welcome to Stories of Transformation, an NRCDV radio podcast production. We are excited to bring you a new mini-series honoring our mothers. Our guest interviewer is Casey King, Director of Programs and Prevention for NRCDV. She is also a member of the ACEDV Leadership Forum Steering Committee. Please join us as Casey brings attention to mothers or maternal caregivers of adult children exposed to domestic violence and their positive influence on the path to healing and resilience.
Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Casey Keene, and I am pleased to be guest hosting for Honoring Our Mothers, the new Stories of Transformation podcast series from NRCDV. Joining me today is Annika Leonard, a public speaker, educator, mentor, and founder of Priceless Incite, which seeks to uplift the experiences of Black and trans women and girls who are impacted by gender-based violence in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Annika is also a member of the ACEDV Leadership Forum Steering Committee, a project of the NRCDV established to amplify the voices and experiences of adult children exposed to domestic violence. Welcome, Annika.
Hi, Casey. Thank you.
Great to be talking with you. And today we're talking about our mothers or maternal caregivers who experienced domestic violence. So, Annika, when you think of your mother, what comes to mind?
Oh my gosh, nothing but admiration. Oh my gosh. It kind of gets overwhelming to think about like what she's experienced in her life and like who she is. I'm like, how could I ever live up to who she is? You know?
Yeah.
She's and I don't want to make it seem like really soppy or anything, but when I think of her, and like I said, I think about what she's experienced, I just see like this person who's overcome so much, but is also able to like still carry grace with her, still carry forgiveness, still, able to raise 4 kids and to instill in us like a lot of the same values that led her to be who she is, and she's still like very family oriented. And like, so I'll think of all those things and I'm like, okay, well, I'm only half of that right now, but I still have some ways to go. So hopefully I'll get there. But she just definitely like leaves some big shoes to fill,
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. And I think you really summed it up with admiration. I can just hear the admiration in your voice when you talk about her. And I wonder, too, it actually makes me wonder this, and I know this wasn't one of the questions we talked about, but it makes me wonder, do you think she sees herself in the same kind of light that you see her?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, though, Casey. I don't think she does. I don't think that, because she'll show up at different events and things like that, and she's just so proud. And strangely enough, like I do the same thing with my daughter. My daughter's really active in the community, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you did that," and I'm like, "No, I really didn't. I was a teen mom and barely knew what I was doing." And I'm pretty sure that she feels in the same way because I get the same kind of response from her when people are like, "Oh, your daughter's so great," and she's like, "Yeah, well, she doesn't necessarily say she doesn't know what she's doing, but I kind of get the same feeling or the same vibe, like." She was hanging on by the skin of her teeth, and I was hanging on by the skin of my teeth, and now we have these amazing people. And I don't think we really give ourselves enough credit, and that may be how we're socialized as women or as mothers or as single mothers, whatever may be the root of it. I don't think that she does know that she has impacted my life so tremendously, like not just the experiences of witnessing violence, but her strength and her resilience and her endurance and the way that she maintained her head held high and still taught us how to make sure that we worked or had multiple tools under our belt so that if we ever lost this job, we can get this job. She did so many things that were nurturing and that were caring, and that she just extended that to the community. And that's a large part of why I do the community service that I do. She's had a major impact. And like I said, I don't think she knows that she impacts this kid who's just running all over the world. And I'm like, Mom, but and it's not the negative experiences that cause this. And I think that there's some association with that too, like a level of shame. And then I think that this takes time to work through. But I'm tremendously proud of my mother and tremendously honored to even call her my mother. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. And I think it's so important to reflect on that, kind of how, our children's perceptions of us, are, and how important that is, to think about, to remind ourselves of, is how, the way our children see us, just really has great value. And so, yeah, that's really cool. So, I'm wondering, because you talked a little bit about some lessons that you have learned from your mother in your life. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So there were times where, like, I would see people like just really do her wrong, and me and my little 12-year-old mind were like, oh, like, like really wanted to lash out at these people for hurting my mother, And my mother would just accept it with such grace. Like, and not like she was a pushover or anything of that nature, but, she just kind of let folks know where she stood and just left it at that. And just left the rest to just be worked out, And I'm like, wow. Because I had all of these emotions that I had pinned up, just from witnessing what I witnessed. And in my mind, I just wanted to go straight for the jugular, if you will, And I'm just like, how could you experience what you experienced and just be so gracious about it? It just absolutely blew my mind. So I would see repeatedly, like those kind of situations where, like, I'm just like, oh, people have just really done you wrong. And she's just like, whatever, And she's a Christian woman, and I think a lot of that has to do with her faith. But like in the Christian religion, like faith without works is dead. So she had to like really do some work within herself. And I'm just amazed that she was able to, pull love and kindness out of herself when I didn't see that much being poured into her, And I think that, not that's the first time I verbalized that, but I think that is really where my admiration comes from, because she got it from somewhere. And I don't know where.
Right. No, that's a really good question. So when you think about that, not that she didn't have a lot of love and kindness poured into her, where do you think she drew that from? Was that primarily from her faith, do you think?
I think it was from her faith. And I think that some of it may have been from us too, but I think it was. Because it just, like, literally, and of course I wasn't, I'm looking at this from a child's perspective, right? So just seeing, and a lot of times, like, we don't give young people enough credit because we see a lot and hear a lot. And even what we don't see and hear, we feel. And I don't think that people really, take that into account too. Like, we know when there's, like, people are walking on eggshells or when something's not right. So, like, from that perspective, I would have, the hopes and dreams that I had for my mother probably, they look different, because I would have loved to see her just adored and just, and that's how I would have known or saw that she was loved, So she probably did get it in a number of places that my, mind and eyes didn't see, but I would have had her just like walking on a throne all day, or, carried around or something.
And I can hear that from you. And I mean, since we've started talking, you've just been filled with so much love for her. I'm sure that she's been, her children are filling her cup. Like when I hear you talking about that, and I hear just like the level of admiration and love and appreciation and respect that you have for her, and it just makes me know that you and your siblings are just such a source of that for her, that it seems like a reciprocal kind of, thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to have to ask her now. No, I have to ask her. Got on my list of things to do.
Awesome. So when you think about, the difficult times that your mother has had, and her as a survivor, and you think about your own resilience, how can you reflect on some ways that your mother has helped to build your capacity for resilience along the way?
Definitely. I stated earlier that I was a teen mom, so there was a level of support that I got from my mom that I'm pretty sure I couldn't have gotten from anywhere else. Um, and that's not to say that, that's not to say anything bad about anyone else. Particularly people who don't have their birth mom in their lives. I want to be, cognizant of that. But my mom, because of some of the things she experienced and being a teen mom herself, I think that and not necessarily having her mom in her life the way she wanted her to, I think that she stepped up in some ways that just really like filled in the gaps. And so that not only modeled for me the kind of person and the kind of mother that I wanted to be, but it also she taught me so much during that. And I don't even think that she knew that she was teaching me necessarily.
Right.
But just how to show up and just be present for someone, and even saying the hard things that you're not going to be like for saying, but sometimes you just have to say them anyway. She modeled that a lot for me as well. So, like in terms of like my resilience, wow. She's definitely, she went through the fire. I went through the fire, and because she did it before me, I knew that I can do it. And for my daughter, I wanted something different. I didn't want her to go through the same fire that I went through, the same fire that my mom went through, which was the same fire that my grandmother and her grandmother went through. I wanted to kind of model something a little different. So yes, I think it's great that, we were able to survive and to, live to tell the story per se, because a lot of parents, a lot of mothers, women, men, children don't live to tell the story, and especially our trans brothers and sisters. But the idea around breaking this cycle is really what got me. In terms, and especially when I think of resilience, is my capacity for resilience lies in me needing to break this cycle for my children and for other people's children, because it's not just about mine. I work with a lot of young people, and they are, tremendous young people who just need someone to help remove some barriers for them, or to even just affirm their identity and affirm where they are, their thoughts, their feelings, that sort of thing. So my mom, she taught me a lot. She taught me compassion. She taught me, I want to say empathy, but not to the point where it's more self-sacrificing, but more like, care for your fellow, human sort of thing. So, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, no, it is. And so it sounds to me like, it was in the values that she kind of embodied. It was in the concrete skills that she taught you along the way in terms of how to survive, how to navigate life. And then also, just so much power in her just modeling, um, the type of person that she was, how she walked through the world with such grace, how she was able to forgive, people who had, as you said, done her wrong. And so it sounds like it's such a combination of things, and that almost from her resilience is, your resilience has grown.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So along that vein, are there ways that you can point to that you honor her in your daily life, in your work, kind of in your family? What does that look like for you?
I send her little heart text messages. I try to definitely stay connected to her, and she knows me by now, so she knows that when I send a little heart, I'm thinking about her. We hang out a lot. My mom loves the Goodwill. I love the Goodwill too, but we have a different capacity for it. Like if I need to, if it's been a long day and I need to just kind of get away, then I'll spend an hour in the Goodwill. My mom will spend 3 hours. She wants to touch everything in the Goodwill. She wants to have a full conversation about everything in the Goodwill. And and literally, one of the ways that I honor her, because I've been known to leave my mom in the Goodwill, okay? I've been known to just take off, okay, you have at it, mom. But just like one of the ways, and my mom has a great sense of humor. Like we have like these kind of I don't know, a person from the outside looking in, they'd be like, "What? You leave your mom at the Goodwill?" But I told her, like, when she grows old, I am not even going to pay for a babysitter or a daycare, adult daycare for her. I'm just going to drop her off at Goodwill and come back 8 hours later, and she'll be fine. This is the kind of relationship that my mom and I have. So, so I definitely honor her, like throughout the work that I do. And just who I am, because I carry my mom with me, like I carry her with me. I carry her blood with me, and her experiences, all of the lessons. So like I live through, I have my own lens that I see her values through, and so I feel like that is a way of honoring her as well. In addition to giving her money to go to the Goodwill, most of it.
No, that's good, and it's so fun. And I think that, like, as you're talking, and I'm kind of thinking about your relationship with your mom, I feel like your relationship in itself is, how you honor her. And I'm so, I'm just sitting here with my heart full, knowing that you and your mom have developed such a close bond, and that you have each other to navigate this life. I just feel like that has been, I can imagine, just so wonderful for both of you, and maybe equally impactful for both of you as you kind of move through this world together.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so is there anything else that you would want to say to our listeners, or anything else you'd want to say about your mother, or just about having had this experience growing up that you want to leave people with as we wrap up?
I would like to say to any adult children who are exposed to violence, like, please be gentle with yourself. Please understand and know that you are perfect in every way, and that all things happen according to a divine plan, regardless of what you believe or don't believe. That things are working on our behalf, and my teacher once told me that the universe is conspiring to gift us. And I think that sometimes when we, have like witnessed so much violence or experience trauma the way that some of us have, that it kind of feels like the world is stacked against us. And it's really not. It's really not. So I just encourage you to just do your work and do some healing work for you and your family, and to stop the generations that have experienced this horrible thing. And know that if it does happen, that you can still recover. Like, you are redeemable. We all are redeemable. And there will be people who will come along and help you along the way, and help you along your healing journey. You just have to be willing to do it, and you will be surprised at what shows up at your doorstep. Because once I made the commitment to heal, I've had so many different opportunities show up, and help guide me, along the way. And I'm pretty sure that the same can happen for you, because I'm no different than you. And just know that you are loved and you are thought of, and that we survive, and that we do more than survive. We become ourselves. Like, I don't even know another way to say it. Like, there is life outside of this identity. We are a number of things. I'm a jokester. I'm a prankster to my friends. I'm a great mother, and like, there's so many things outside of being a child witness, and I wish that for all of you. I wish the world of you. And if you are a parent who has exposed your child to domestic violence, please understand that there is life outside of that too. Like, you can be redeemed, and you are a person, and you are allowed to make different decisions, or decisions that impact others, and that you can come back to the table and figure it out. Like, there is healing. Healing is possible for all of us. So if there was one thing I would say, it's that healing is possible.
Oh, thank you. That was beautifully said, Annika. Thank you so much. And I think that, it's so important as we kind of enter into our work on the ACDV Leadership Forum. We spend a lot of time talking about just the importance of bringing our whole selves to everything we do. And I feel like you've absolutely reflected on that in a powerful way. So thank you, Annika. Thank you for joining me today and for sharing your story for our Honoring Our Mothers podcast series. It has truly been a pleasure. I feel so inspired by your bond that you have with your mother, the admiration and respect that you have for her. So thank you for sharing that with all of us today.
Thank you for creating a space for me to do so, Casey. Because that's the other thing. Like sometimes you need the space and the platform to do it. So thank you.
Yeah. So I will say to our listeners, please stay tuned for more stories in this series from members of the ACDV Leadership Forum. And with that, we'll say goodbye for now. Thank you.
You just listened to Stories of Transformation, an NRCDV radio podcast production. To learn more about the ACDV Leadership Forum, visit nrcdv.org/ace-dv. If you are seeking support as a person who has been personally impacted by domestic violence, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can hear our other podcasts and access additional resources on gender-based violence and related topics at nrcdv.org. NRCDV radio podcasts are brought to you by the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence and supported by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Administration for Children and Families, Family and Youth Services Bureau.